what is going on in the world with the anti-Semitism and the terrorist attacks and our ability to not call it what it is. This one's hard for me, you guys, because believe it or not, I've been attacked as a racist because I have feelings on radical Islam. I'm going to tell you something. This is my perspective, okay? And I only come from my view of the world and what my personal experience has been, and that's what allows it to be my opinion, okay? Now, if you don't like it, that's fine. You don't have to like it. You don't have to agree with me. But what I would ask is that you are objective in my description and that you don't jump the gun to claim I am something that I am not. Because I'm going to be as direct as I want. I was in sixth grade and 11 years old when September 11th happened. It was my birthday was the following week. I was 10. And it had a huge impact on my life. My parents did not tell me it was related to anything specific, but obviously as time went on, it was harder and harder to prevent you from knowing just because the war started. It was always on TV. There was a lot of other things happening at that time that made it hard to be protected from what was going on. That obviously had the impacts that it did on airline travel. I mean, when I look back and I think about how it had an impact on life, what I think about is my mom couldn't walk me to the gate anymore when I went to go fly to visit my grandma. I had to go through the airport myself. We had to start taking shoes off at the airport. We had to put all of our toiletries in the little bags, like nothing over 3 ounces, right? These were all things that got added into our TSA safety essentially after 9/11. Okay. For me, they were huge impacts because I would fly to travel to visit my grandmother. And so, again, like I said, my mom couldn't walk me to the gate anymore. Packing got more complicated. And I just noticed and I didn't understand why. Now, afterwards, you realize, oh, it's because a guy tried to get a bomb onto a plane in his shoes. And that was like the one that we thwarted. So we didn't even hear about it as much as we heard about the Twin Towers. And, people could be bringing, bomb making fluids in a little less than 3 ounces and da da da. And then you realize like, oh my God, this is horrific. There are people out there that really want to hurt us. Okay. And I don't think there's any time greater than now to look around and see it happening. Now, there are clearly anti-Semitic efforts here, okay? We don't just throw Molotov cocktails on Jewish elderly people for no reason. We don't just go to a Hanukkah celebration and shoot it up for no reason. It's clearly politically or religiously motivated. For people who don't want to admit that, I'm sorry, you're an idiot. Additionally, we are the infidel also. As soon as radical Islam takes care of all the Jewish people, guess what? Americans are next. Again, many people don't want to hear that. I'm sorry. If it hurts your sensitivities, it's the truth. I'm not overgeneralizing to say every Muslim feels this way. I'm not saying that this is every single person that believes in Islam has this intention. I can't say that, don't know. But what I can say is that I haven't really come across another group of people that has more terrorist attacks against others that shares an ideology. If you can find one, would love to hear about it. We have to be able to talk about it, guys. We have to be able to admit it. We have to be able to see a threat and acknowledge it. Okay. And when people attack the people that are saying this as if I'm some racist for acknowledging a global threat, um, it's really unfortunate because we can only protect ourselves against what we acknowledge. And we are having congressional hearings where they're saying there's over 18,000 known terrorists that got across the border in the last 4 years. Known terrorists. So that just means that there's 18,000 possible cell leaders that have, maybe another additional 10 fucking people under them. Oh, but this is not a problem. Okay. Uh-huh. Sure. Okay. So then why is it that all of these Jews are being targeted? And why aren't we acknowledging what they're saying before they're killing people? And why aren't we just, acknowledging the freaking through line here? Uh, my husband spent a lot of time in the Middle East during Iraq and thereafter. He came away with a lot of fondness for the people and their food and their haircuts. Um, and obviously, it is not everyone, like I said. But the ones who it is are radical. They kill indiscriminately. They use children to shoot people and as fodder. I find it hard to have unabashed tolerance for a religion that calls for my death. Again, I understand there are a spectrum of practicing Muslims, as there is a spectrum of practicing Christians, okay? The Christian Bible doesn't tell us to kill others. So while there may be a spectrum, even in the most adherent, they're dangerous, and Christians aren't. If you want to come at me with the Christian nationalists and okay, I guess. I guess. I don't see them out there committing mass murder of Black people or any other. So I don't know. Bad argument, in my opinion. The other thing that I think is interesting is, beyond the good my husband saw, he saw bad also. And that has to be acknowledged. There has to be an acknowledgement that, Islam is a combination of religion and politics and government. And we don't believe that. That is literally the definition of church and state, the separation of church and state. It's not that, you can't have religion in the government. It's that the government cannot mandate a religion. Okay? That's the real meaning of the separation of church and state. So anyone confused by that should go back and look it up. But that in itself prevents Islam from being synergistic with our Constitution. Okay? So how are we supposed to square that? We're supposed to square that by calling ourselves racist because our Constitution doesn't support their religion? when their religion wants to take over the world by force? Okay. Again, if you want to argue that not all Muslims or all people who believe in Islam believe that, fine. Again, fine. My argument to those arguments is if a radical Islamist is in control of a Muslim country, the Muslims under that radical Islamists must obey. Okay? They don't get a freaking choice. When you're born in a Muslim country, Muslim just gets put on your birth certificate. You don't get a choice. You are. You will obey. You will obey or you will die. You will obey or you will be oppressed. Okay? We've seen this happen in many Middle Eastern countries. This is not an assumption. Okay? i.e., the Taliban. Okay? I have a right to defend my homeland. I have a right to represent my own wants and needs. That does not make me wrong. That does not make me racist. The whole point of our government is to represent your own self-interest. And then the average of that collective interest is what plays out. Okay? So it's not wrong for me to vote in my interest or to have an opinion that's in my interest. My interest is I'm a Christian. I want the United States to stay majority Christian. I don't want to share my community with Muslims who hate me. Muslims who love me, Muslims who are apathetic even, fine. Muslims who hate me? No. No. Do I want to feel at risk in my community because I don't know when a father and son are just going to come to the beach and shoot us up? No. I'm not wrong for saying that. It is natural and human to want to avoid harm. When you recognize a pattern that causes harm, it's natural to want to stop it or avoid it. Again, we pan over to the situation with the fraud in Somalia, the Somalian community, excuse me. And we're being taken advantage of, clearly. Not to mention in programs that are supposed to support the least of them. We're talking about feeding kids. We're talking about housing. We're talking about SNAP benefits. We're talking about autistic kids that they were making fake autism centers and claiming fake treatment. That doesn't represent America. Taking advantage and stealing from the least of them does not represent America. Okay? I can't believe the framing on this that's been like, oh, these are the least of them. These are the immigrants. They need help. We should support. What the hell are you talking about? Of course we should fucking support them. They get regular ass SNAP benefits like anybody else. They're defrauding the system for millions. If it was any other group, can you imagine the freaking headlines? But we're not allowed to say anything about it. Okay. I think honestly, now I saw that there is some stuff coming out of Maine that's very similar to what we saw in Minnesota. And all I got to say is I want a freaking audit. I want an audit of every state program, every government program. That is the truth of what DOJ should be doing. Run that tape. Ugh, you guys, this makes me really upset. Honestly, I almost just got overwhelmed by tears because I think about the accumulation of this fraud. And then I think about the deficit and the risk of losing the dollar as the world currency and my son's future and the future economy. And, they took that money out of my pocket for my kid. That's how I feel about it. That money, that was money that got stolen from my son's future. That was money that got stolen from my future. And it really sucks to be a big-hearted Christian and a big-hearted American and to want to offer these opportunities for people to come here and have access to our economy, which is really the American dream. That's it. Access to the American economy and the ability to move up in class is the American dream. That's it. There's no promise beyond access and opportunity. And for them to come and take advantage of our kindness and to just dupe us, it should make you feel really, really stupid. And if there's something that opens your eyes to the fact that, like, being the welfare state of the world is not actually going to benefit us and can be done so much more efficiently and with so much more compassion to the Americans who support it. I'm not a hateful person. I'm a very kind and loving person. I live in a community of immigrants. As a white American, I am the minority in my community. Okay. I am surrounded by people with brown skin. Indian, Arab, those are my people. Okay. This is my community. I led Boy Scouts the other night, and out of the 5 groups that came through my little station game, 3 of them were 100% brown skinned. Okay. I'm not hateful. I love on them. I joke with them. I give them high fives. I teach them the things about America, like baseball rules and everything else. Okay? Because they're here. And at least these kids are trying. And at least their parents are trying. I mean, listen, Boy Scouts is a pretty American thing. All right? They're here, they're trying. Okay? But I can still see the difference. They're still talking amongst themselves in different languages. When it comes to this situation, guys, this topic specifically, the way that I think about it is, like I explained, I have the right to vote for my own self-interests. I have the right to encourage and support my own self-interests just as they do. And it doesn't make me racist to do it if it doesn't make them racist to do it. I don't oppress people. I'm not responsible for that. I'm an addition to my community, no matter how it looks. That is what America's about. So even though I have these opinions, and even though I have a different self-interest, and I would like to be surrounded by a community of Christians, it's not even about a skin color, y'all. Like, let me remind you, my last name is Rios. I am in a biracial relationship. I married a brown man. I have a mixed child, okay? I've faced racism for being in a mixed relationship. But when it comes down to it, he's an American. He's a patriot. He knows that the things of America are important. Our freedoms are important. He's been in the military for almost 25 years to support that. I think we have to be able to be honest about what's going on, guys. I think we have to be honest about what threats we're up against. I think we have to be able to have conversations about it without being attacked by being racist. I really hope that you can tell that that is not the energy I'm coming with. The energy I'm coming with is it's a fucking problem if they want to kill us. I'm pretty sure we can all agree that if there's anybody out there that wants to kill you, that's a problem. And I'm not going to sit here and let people be slaughtered because you want to act politically fucking correct. Oh, thanks for hanging in there, guys. I know this is a tough conversation, but I hope that you can hear my heart in it. I hope that you can hear where I'm truly coming from, because the reality is that I don't harbor hate. But if you're gonna try and kill me, I'm gonna protect myself, and I'm gonna fight for my rights, and I'm gonna try and protect my community and my family, because that's what we have the right to do as Americans. And I don't have to answer to anyone else's moral guidelines, because my morality is between me and my God, and I'm okay with that. Okay. I think that we do need to limit our immigration on for a little while. And I think that we need to go back through and vet a lot of the people a lot more thoroughly that we didn't vet when they came across the border. And I think we need to start finding those 18,000 terrorists that got across the border, and we need to start getting them out of here. Because I am not going to sit around and continue to have to explain to my son why people are dying in America every day, why people are being murdered across the globe for being Jewish. I'm really pretty tired of that. And at the end of the day, it doesn't matter whether you're America first or America only or anti-Israel or any of that. It doesn't really matter. Because if you represent America to a radical Muslim, you're the same as them. So you can not support them and not support their fight to, ensure their existence. But without our support, if Israel falls, we're the next in line. So hope that seems worth it then. I got into an argument the other day about this whole idea of the caliphate, and that no, the caliphate isn't real. Listen, the Islamic caliphate is real. The radical groups are not even independent anymore. Al Qaeda and ISIS, they're all training together. Okay, they're sharing training camps. This is not small sects of one-off radical groups. The small sects have united and are now training like 15,000 people at a time. This is a major issue. There are people and intelligence officers who have been screaming about how serious this issue is for the last 18 months. This is the same kind of issue we had prior to 9/11, where we had intelligence people and analysts screaming about the risks and the challenges, but we wouldn't fucking listen. So, really? We're ready to just walk down that path again? You want to see another 9/11? Seriously? That's mind blowing to me. Mind blowing. All right, guys. All right. I love you. I got to leave it there. It's a long one. Those are my feelings. Take it or leave it. Hate me or love me. Um, Not a fan of radical Islam. Really a fan of protecting America. I'm really a fan of creating a future for my son where he doesn't have to worry about terrorism. Really would not like my son to experience at 10 years old what I experienced with 9/11. And I don't think it makes me a bad person to feel that way. So call me a racist if you want. I'm a Christian. Radical Islam is evil. Killing people indiscriminately is evil. And I'm not afraid or ashamed to say that. So we'll talk soon, y'all. I am probably going to do one more show at the end of this week. Then we are off for holiday break, Christmas. Yes. And then I will be away one more week until after the new year. And then I'll be back with you. So stay tuned. I'm going to have some guests on again in the beginning of the year. I got some stuff lined up. We are also going to kind of keep tabs of what's going on with the healthcare situation. We didn't talk about that all today. What a win for you guys. Just kidding. But I am going to do an episode upcoming on, I don't know if you guys have seen, but Maha is killing the game right now. Kennedy is coming out with all of these amazing announcements as far as getting, you know, if you saw, but Walmart is going to work to get all of the dyes and everything out of their store brand food items, which will be amazing. There was a couple of other really serious diseases that were added to the child screening list, that if we can catch some of those before they become huge problems, we can make a huge difference in a lot of children's lives. And so some other really cool things that if you're Maha related, I will put Big Maha on the title for that episode so you can find it easily and get linked in. So I hope you guys have a great week. If I don't see you on Friday or next week, Merry Christmas for those of you who celebrate Hanukkah. Happy Hanukkah. And we will see you soon.